Yo, 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 I hope you're enjoying your ride. It's time
for the Drive for Five
podcast. Let's go. Yo, 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 your boy Coach Chris.
It's your boy, Coach Miles.
This is the Drive for Five podcast, man. We are back with a very, very special episode, man. This is one that's near and dear to our heart, man. We got our first guest. And man, amazing accomplishments throughout his life, man. 2021 MEAC Hall of Famer. Shit, man, we can go on to the records he set at Bethune Cookman in college. Hosts a career record right now for rushing touchdowns for Bethune Cookman, 39 touchdowns. Is that correct?
Something like that.
Yeah, man. It's an amazing friend, near and dear to our heart, man. The mentor in some cases, man, to us as growing up, man, in this coaching industry, man. We got the illustrious, amazing Alan Suber.
Coach
Suber.
Y'all
what's going on, Big Dog?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, man.
Sure,
This has been a long time coming, man. You got a lot of knowledge, man. We've been wishing to share. Like you tell it with us, in the privacy of our own conversations, but you know what I mean, to be able to have a conversation with you about sports and football, man, and life and everything and above, man, on this type of platform, man. It's amazing. It's amazing experience with you, man.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the space. Y'all holding the space.
For sure. Hey, hey, Coach. I know you down there at Warden High School, and you coaching with a dear friend and a teammate of mine at some point. How's that going for you? And what's Warden looking like? And how's that offense rolling down there?
It's been quite the experience, man. Being in big time football in Hillsborough County. I think we play one of the tougher schedules in the state. When you get outside of Dade County and Fort Lauderdale. But it's been fun, man. I have a young quarterback by the name of Jackson Jensen that's pretty good. He can spin it. He's a great leader, and really just has the DNA of a college quarterback. It's been really fun coaching him, and we're in the thick of a playoff run, man. Looks like if we win our last three, we'll have a shot to be ranked in the top 8 in our region, and get a chance to roll the dice in the playoffs. So, looking forward to it.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. And I know you say you got a guy that can spin it. What if you don't mind me asking, what kind of player is he? Like,
what do you mean when you say what type of player?
Is he mobile? Is he a pocket passer? How do you utilize his talents? What are some things that you instill in him to have such a high caliber year that he's having so far?
Well, for me, it's about the building blocks of a quarterback. No matter if he's an athlete who can run or if he's a drop back guy, it's 5 things for me that you got to have. You got to be a winner, and that consists of just the leadership qualities. You got to have great decision making. You have to be a master of the fundamentals of the position of quarterback. You got to have great work habits, and you got to be the ultimate competitor. He exudes all those things, man, on a daily basis. So that's where he's finding a lot of his success, throughout the week and on Friday nights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, that sounds amazing, man. We got a chance to visit, come down there, man, and catch him live and in action. And you played, was it Newsom?
Newsom.
Yep.
He got a live on.
Yeah, he got a lot. He can spin it. He can spin it, man. I love the way he competed. On the sideline, he looked like he was very coachable. You know what I'm saying? We got an opportunity to see you live in action as the offensive coordinator down there, man, calling the plays. So that was a good experience to see that quarterback, you know what I'm saying, take some of the things that you're saying right now and actually put it on display. Speaking of being an illustrious high school quarterback, you know what I mean, you had your own illustrious career back at you spent some time at Jesuit, also went to Tampa Catholic, a rival school. It was kind of a big deal back then. You know what I mean? You going from one school to the other, man, and playing in that big game and big rivalry game, and in that atmosphere, man. Tell us a little bit about high school back then, in comparison to now.
Um, I would say that my my sophomore year when I was at Jesuit High School. I was behind a quarterback who set a bunch of records at Georgia Tech, George Godsey. So I had the chance to learn from him and watch him play my sophomore year before transferring to Tampa Catholic. And I was following up probably one of the top 10 most prolific high school signal callers ever in Kenny Kelly. So as you guys know, Hillsborough County is rich in prep football, man. So I was blessed to kind of be able to watch film on both of those guys to add to my DNA as a high school quarterback. And I finished out my senior year going to the game before the state championship, where we lost to Pope John Paul uh, by I think 2 points in a game where I threw for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns and rushed for another. But my high school career was awesome, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Tampa Cat dear to my heart, and I'm always rooting for them. But it was a great experience, man. I finished up being the Tampa Tribune Player of the Year and being first team All County as a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Tribune and as a cornerback for the St. Pete Times because I led the area with 7 interceptions that year as well. So it was a great time, man. I remember a lot of it.
Yeah, man, it was pretty dope, man. I remember watching a lot of that from the end zone and throwing the football around, and it was just a cool experience, man. That was just one thing that I look forward to on Fridays and getting out of school and going over to your mom's house and picking it over there until it's time to go, and she would take us to go get wings and. Um, So those were just some cool moments, man, that I was able to experience. But as we're moving along with high school, um, what was recruiting like for you? I know that as you said that you led the state in picks with 7 and things like that. So were you recruited as an athlete, as a quarterback, receiver? Like, what was your recruitment like? And just so us as in the world would be able to understand like how's recruiting and what are some of the decisions that you made that caused you to go where you went and those type of things like that. And with me being a high school coach, I want to be able to instill some of those things in my kids as well when it comes to making choices. Um, so can you enlighten us on your recruitment, and then something of advice that you can give to other athletes like yourself that's trying to figure out what they want to do and where they want to go?
Right, especially with different positions. Right,
Okay. Well, I'll say this is that um, part of the deal for me was sorting through and sifting through who was really recruiting me to play quarterback and who wasn't. um, because I had Bethune Cookman College at the time that was recruiting me to play quarterback, and I knew they had a genuine interest because their quarterback was very similar to me in skill set. I could throw it a little bit better, but as far as the ability to run, extend plays, and things of that nature, um, I went on and I took a visit there, had a phenomenal time. Actually made some good friends on that visit that I remained friends with throughout college and still friends with to this day. And then I took a visit to Lehigh University, who was recruiting me as a quarterback. But I spent the whole official visit with the DB coach. So, there was a little bit of sorting through, a little bit of fog and dealing with that scenario. Then I had a little bit of Ole Miss toying with me for a little while, playing some corner, and Louisville wanted me to play some receiver. So for me, to get to the little tidbit, I've never shared this with anybody because I use it as, recruiting as a coach. But why not let Drive for Five have it first? When I came up, the big thing for us back then was playing NCAA, 2000 and whatever, or 99 back then.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things that I kind of fell in love with was the whole process of building a team and going through the process of recruiting a player, as you built your team.
Right.
And I
Dynasty mode.
use, say that again.
Dynasty mode.
Yep, dynasty mode.
Yep.
Yep. So in the process of the dynasty mode, I would go through the whole process, of the dynasty mode in my mind for myself. And I would write down all the different things that were important to different players and see how that fit with me and how that was important to me and where I went. Just to kind of get my mind in a place where I'd be able to make a sound decision based off the right things. Because I think so often now for these young kids, I think the NCAA just put a rule in where you can't take pictures at a university unless it's on an official visit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they're trying to protect these kids because they see it as the kids not being sound enough mind to, be able to make decisions based off the right things. Kids are interested. Well, I had a great photo shoot at X university. They're moving up on my list of schools, when those aren't the essential things that you should be thinking of when making a decision that's going to really, really weigh on the outcome over the next 4 to 8 years of your life. So those are just some of the things that I use. You should always consider, especially in this era of college football, consider the things outside of the people. Okay. And that's something that has changed over the years, because I've always preached in the process of recruiting that you've got to fall in love with the people, because the people make the place. The buildings are always going to be there. But now in this era of the way coaches are moving, the way opportunities are presenting themselves, you've kind of got to fall in love with the brick and mortar a little bit, in the city that you're in, and the opportunity to play in front of that fan base, because, a coach gets another opportunity that offers him more money, or coaching in a bigger conference. You can't fault that guy for leaving. Just like a kid now, if he is an overachiever, can leave and go from FCS to FBS or FBS to BCS. So you just have to be very strategic in the things that you find yourself falling in love with about a university, because they can change very, very, very quickly.
Man, that was deep. Well, that was some good stuff there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait to speak to my guys about that.
Hopefully they hear it first from Josh Foster. That was an exclusive from Alan Super, man.
Yes, sir.
Recruiting process.
Yes, sir.
Speaking a little bit about the cornerback, man. Let's staying on that quarterback. What obviously quarterback was the position you ultimately wanted to play. Um, what was some of the things, man, that made you decide, like, on, you know what, man, this is the position I'm gonna stick with. This is the position I want to play, and I'm not gonna let a coach dissuade me based on playing time or anything else on that nature of what I'm gonna do when I get recruited.
Well, for me, it was simple. At the position of quarterback, I have the ability to touch the ball every down, therein control my own destiny.
Right.
So that part of it was very simple for me. I was an I quarterback. We threw the ball quite a bit. I had a receiver, Jarris McIntyre, now the head coach at my alma mater, Tampa Catholic. He had 1,400 yards receiving that year. So we threw it around quite a bit. and I enjoyed that. And then I was presented with the opportunity to play quarterback at Bethune Cookman, who was they were running triple option when I first got there.
Yeah.
Which bone?
Flex bone. And,
Flex.
and as my flex
Wide
bone
bone.
to flex bone to the world, but as my head coach called it, the Wyatt bone.
Yes, sir.
Alvin Wyatt definitely named it after himself. But so with that in mind, and the offense evolved as I began to play, and my ability to throw the ball showed true. We evolved a bit, and we're in doubles, and we're right on the brink of all this spread offense that you see, but didn't quite break through. So that was the kind of decision I was faced with. I just wanted to be in control of my own destiny. I had a dream, and I had a goal to make it to the National Football League, and I felt like playing offense, playing quarterback, touching the ball every down, I could control that destiny better than playing corner, where a place that I honestly, truthfully, wasn't really interested in tackling 200-pound running backs. and the more I looked around, that seemed like that was the equation that was going to be presented to me. So it made it easy for me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Great
sir.
insight. Great insight on that one.
Well, I want to ask this, man, and I know you went on to sign at Bethune Cookman, and you became Mr. Daytona and all these good things. Tell us if you could briefly run us through your time at Cookman and playing behind Patel Troutman and just evolving the Wyatt bone into them utilizing your ultimate skill set, and that was actually throwing the football. Can you briefly run us through that real quick? And
Yeah, man, I'll try to be as briefly as I can. You trying to, I'm a jam,
yeah,
5 years into about 30
Hey,
seconds.
hey, Jim, the whole Stuber era, man.
yeah,
You
yeah,
had your own
yeah,
era.
yeah. Billboards, buses, like
Yeah, we want to know.
yeah, we
Okay.
want to know about all that.
Okay. Well, let's see. I get on campus as a 17-year-old freshman, um, which was mind blowing for me. I definitely wasn't ready for what I was about to embark on. I look back on it and I see my players now, and I definitely, if I run across a kid that's like Alan Suber in high school, I'm telling him to reclassify. Without a doubt, I could have reclassified twice based on my age. Um, but nevertheless, 17-year-old freshman in college, and I hit the I hit the yard, as we say in Black college. I hit the yard running. Um,
Yes, sir.
found myself in a quarterback competition with a guy who was a redshirt junior, um, a local uh, a local Daytona hero at Daytona Beach Seabreeze, and we were in a very, 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 very thick competition down into the maroon and gold game, which is the last scrimmage before uh, you jump into the first week of school, which ends in the first game of the year. And I I got tackled, and the helmet came down on the bridge of my nose and broke my nose.
Mm.
So I started off my first week of as with two black eyes. Was letting my nose heal, and ultimately was pretty much considered to be a red shirt until further notice, and in case in the event that something happened where the starter went down, or I just came back and really found a way to get myself into the rotation. So as that went on, um, probably about week 6, week 5, kind of went back to the doctor, checked up. The bone had healed and kind of grown back in between my eyes where I broke my nose. And so it was time for me to get back into full contact, full action. So of course, with any guy that's been out 5 weeks just doing running and different things like that, nothing physical, I had fresh legs and looked really good. So all the coaches would kind of tease me, hey man, look, if we go some of these games, coach won't hesitate to put you in. You need to make sure you do what's necessary to keep your red shirt. So what I would do, he would take me on the trips on the away games, because he said he wanted me to get the experience of traveling on the away games, going through the process, so that when it was my turn, it wouldn't be a learning process for me. I'd be adjusted. I'd know how to react, respond, and how to travel well. Um, so I would leave my helmet in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you about that, man.
yeah, yeah. It's a true story, man. I would leave my helmet in Daytona Beach and just kind of wear a little skull something on the sideline and or and do my backup quarterback thing. So that's how my red shirt. Yeah, that's how my red shirt freshman year went. I signed in the class of '99, which is still the greatest class to ever be signed in Bethune Cookman history. Um, and and the special thing about that class is the final game of the year we play against the Garden Snakes up there from Tallahassee, and we play them, and they got a bunch of dudes, man. They got Kanan Lamb, they got Quinn Gray, they got another receiver. I apologize, I forget his name, but he broke Jerry Rice's records for catches and yards in the season in a career. And these guys go up on us, and they're up 35 points in this fourth quarter, and they're still slinging it. They throwing it every down, Coach Miles. They throwing it every single down. So we end up losing that game, I believe, 56-14. And our whole class of 99 that year walked off the field after that game. We didn't shake hands. We didn't nothing. And we went straight into the locker room and pretty much yelled at each other for about 3 or 4 minutes about how this is the last time that's ever going to happen. That coaches brought us here to change this, for this not to be this way. And I truly believe and know, really, I know that sparked the change in that program from there on out. The next year we come back, we sign another great class, which could be arguably, the second best class. Coaches were doing a phenomenal job in recruiting at that time. And, we go throughout that process, man. I was smelling myself and feeling like I was ready to play. And this coming back a senior. He's the head coach's godson. He's the local hometown hero. But of course, I was 18 years old and I was ready to play. I felt like it was my turn, and I was the better guy. So I went through the woes that we all go through as college players, and really got down, didn't have the greatest positive attitude towards things. And I found myself not the first string quarterback, but the third string quarterback. So I found myself kind of battling through that whole process. Figuring it out exactly, how I wanted to go about attacking this thing. So we go and we have a game where we played in the Bahamas against Morgan State. Here I am, the third string quarterback. I get in, throw my first NCAA collegiate touchdown in the Bahamas, which was a great time to me. Had a great time. It was fun. Got a chance to hit some clear waters and throw a touchdown. Came back, still found myself in the same situation, and was really frustrated. Was thinking about transferring, thinking about leaving. Didn't want to be there. Didn't really know what to do. And we get to I want to say week 7, and we're undefeated at that time in North Carolina A&T. We go to them. They have the Blue Death defense. And we go out there, and they in the end of the first quarter, they break the quarterback's collarbone. He breaks his collarbone or dislocates it. They put the backup in for the second quarter, and then the coach comes over to me at halftime and says, "You starting coming out of half. You're getting your shot now, so I don't want to hear nothing." So I light up, get a little nervous, but I'm ready to go. And then probably the third down of the first series, I take a quarterback draw 65, um, and there begin, my college career.
The super
The
Uh,
super
era.
era. The
Okay.
super era. That's the
yeah,
super era beginning.
yeah, that's where it started, man. We ended up losing that football game. Kind of got the sticks behind a little bit, but definitely show a lot of strides, in my time. And we go into the next game. I remember like yesterday, you said one of the games you can actually still pull on YouTube is 2001 Bethune Cookman at Hampton for Hampton's homecoming.
Yeah.
So I roll in the homecoming, man. My eyes are just wide open, man. I can't believe seeing beautiful time. Um, everything you could think about, that you would want in a college atmosphere was there. The band's rocking, and I go out and score 3 touchdowns in the first half. Um, we end up pulling off the game, I think by 6 points, and I finished with four rushing touchdowns, one passing. In my first college start, and in that game, the commentator says, "A star is born," um, and that's really where got my first start, and I think I started off what 5-0. Ended up the starting quarterback ended up coming for the classic. He started that game, um, and we ended up losing. We're up half, but we ended up losing by, I want to say, 6 or 5 points. So we definitely closed the gap from last year's game of, a 30, 40 point loss to 6 points. Um, that's how that thing went. And we rolled into the next off season. Um, I'm thinking, hey man, it's my time. I done paid my dues. I'm gonna be the starter. And it took a lot of, internal just belief and knowing in myself, because we turned around and we signed a quarterback from Oklahoma State, a transfer from Cal State Fullerton at quarterback. So the pressure is on. I got to produce, man. I think I gained probably 9 pounds that off season, dropped my 40, probably like points, and really got after it and spent a lot of times with this incoming freshman, um, um, that we brought in, that we felt like was going to be a playmaker for us. So we jump into that redshirt sophomore year. We've got a ton of playmakers, man. I mean, this is probably the most talented team ever. Talented at Bethune Cookman. I mean, we've got speed all over the field. We got physical older guys. We got experience. I mean, it's everything you could ask for. And long story short, this team ends up 7-4 with 3 losses by 8 points, and then we classic. So we're looking for answers, you know, trying to get it figured out. That year I finished All American my sophomore year. I think I threw for 1,900 and ran for another 800. Um, it was a successful year as far as offense was concerned. We just couldn't put it together as a team and finish. We couldn't finish the tough games, the close games. We found a way to beat ourselves. So at the end of that year, the head coach calls the captains for next year in, and he tells us, "Hey, I got to make some changes, and they're going to be some tough changes. I need you guys to back me on it." And we kind of look at him like, "Okay, what exactly are you talking about?" Well, we had 17 starters returning from that previous team, and he said he was going to kick off 12 of them. So you can imagine we're sitting there like, man, where are you going with this? Why?
Right.
It was a multiplicity of reasons, some I won't get into, some personal life decisions some people were making that weren't in the best interest of the team. Guys who just weren't sold in, were more about themselves than the team. and he did it. He cut those 12 guys, all 12 starters, plus some others, but 12 that were starters. We come back and bring that team back, man, and we run off 8 straight games. We get to 8-0, and at 8 games, I'm right at about 950 yards rushing in 8 games, something like that. And you know, as a player, I was always into the coaches because I knew I wanted to coach when I was done. So I wanted to be around them as much. I wanted to see how they prepared within a day, to get us ready for practice and recruiting and all those different processes. So I would go around and I saw a ball. Coach had a ball ready for me in his office for 1,000 yards. If I was going to reach that 1,000 yards in the next game, whenever I reached it. So we go up to North Carolina A&T, and we played North Carolina A&T. And at this point, man, I mean, we've got the entire student body, city of Daytona, all of the alum. They're going to out-of-state games. We got the buses are driving up. We're paying for our band to come to our away games. I mean, we really got the whole thing rocking, sitting at 8-0. At this time, ranked probably, I think, 15 in the country. All right. First time being ranked that high in school history. And we get to that 8-0, and I get into the second quarter, and I sprain my foot, and I come out for that game. And we had a soon to be second round draft pick, Rasheem Mathis, that flipped over from DB to play receiver and caught a bomb with 1:30 left to win that game. So we improved to 9-0, and then had to go down the stretch. Now that was actually the first year, in 2003, that they started the 12 game seasons, that you could have a 12 game season. That's when it started, and we went down the road. I missed a couple games. We went to Hampton and lost. Played 3 quarterbacks in that game. Then I came back for the Classic and went for about a quarter and a half, and my foot ended up swelling up again. So I came out, but we go on to win that game 49-14, something of that nature, 45 or 49-14. And that point, we flipped the culture. Everything that class of 99 set out to do, we saw it happen right in front of our eyes. Even though I didn't get a chance to play the whole game and finish the game, it was a beautiful thing to see that whole thing flip, to be happy for our fans, to cheer for a win in that Florida Classic game that they hadn't in quite some time. For the recruiting trail to trip to flip, people to want to come to Bethune Cookman instead of Florida A&M. It was just a beautiful thing, man. And that year won about, just about every single offensive MVP, every award that you could possibly think of for the conference, Pigskin Classic. I mean, everything. It was good as far as that was concerned as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then most importantly, we made our first appearance ever in the NCAA playoffs.
Yeah, I remember them times.
Yep. We went to we at this time, man, we ranked in the top 10. I think we were number 10 or 9, and they send us, or no, I'm sorry, we were number 5, and they send us to play Georgia Southern, who's number 1 in the country.
They had Adrian McPherson or Peterson at the time, didn't they?
Nah, he graduated the year before, but they had dudes that were very similar to him, though. Yeah, they had a good football team, and they end up beating us, I want to say 28-7. And that's how that year ended. And great year. Set the table for us to come back senior year. We started off at one point, we were ranked number 4, which is the highest that Bethune Cookman's ever been ranked
Nice.
in the rankings. And we finished that year 9-3 and make another appearance in the playoffs. And then we get slated after being ranked that high. We get slated to play FAU, and they're in the year of their transition to Division I football. They beat Hawaii.
I remember that.
Yeah, they beat Hawaii and some other Division I team that year. And we ended up losing to them off a last-minute 47-yard field goal that they hit game. That's old Howard Schnellenberger. So
Howard.
yeah.
I remember when he took that job.
Yep, absolutely. So but we're undefeated against FIU. We played FIU twice. I played FIU twice at Bethune Cookman while they were Division I in the Sun Belt, and we beat them twice. So there was a lot of accomplishment. 3-time MEAC Offensive Player of the Year, three-time first team quarterback. Just a lot of personal accolades, a lot of team accolades, man. Made a lot of great friends, and it rolled me into getting me an opportunity as a free agent with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So sorry so long, man, but I tried to cram it.
Nah, it's all good, man. That's the time we had the when me and little Alex, man, we had the Infinity Truck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I remember them times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Alan gone for the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. Mama Sue used to look out for us, man. So those was good times. Great times for me and him as high school students, man. It was an unbelievable time that no one will ever understand.
Right down Ebor.
Yeah. Shout out, man. E-Boy City in them days. But just moving along, Suit, man. And you done unbelievable things as an athlete, and it was a pleasure to watch, and it was a pleasure to see. Like it was unbelievable. Just coming from my experience, looking up to you and things like that, man. It was extremely dope. And then moving on to, I think you've had a pretty successful um coaching career as well. I know you got a couple guys that you produced that made it to the NFL, and particularly Tajay Sharp. I know you want to know as a head coach. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so like if you can speak a little bit about that and your time as coaching and interning for the Jaguars, and um how did you learn to become a professional? And what I mean by professional, I mean as in the coaching world. Now I know you became a professional as a player, but what was that transition like going from player to coach, and then shifting your goals to more coaching goals in reference to being a player?
Yeah. Well, that transition from a player to a coach was made smooth by Coach Wyatt. He gave me an opportunity after I came back my rookie year to jump in spring ball and to coach the quarterbacks during spring ball. And that really opened my eyes to the organization, the detail, and really the details of being a coach and what it took at the level. Being that I was doing it with the triple option, it made a smoother transition because I just finished doing it as a player. But it was great in that sense. And like I told you earlier, man, I really, every opportunity I had, like every recruiting season, I was in there watching film, with the recruiting coordinator, Coach Mass, God bless him. I was watching that film with him, critiquing and going through rating guys, at every offensive position and defensive position, based on, the needs of the team. So I was dialed in and tapped into what was going on with the program as far as that was concerned. After I finished playing, you know, the gentleman, Shaq Harris, who was the player personnel director for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the same guy who, granted me the opportunity to sign there as a rookie for my training camp. He brought me in for an in-house interview for a position that they had in-house there with the Jaguars in player personnel.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 3-day interview. I mean, we did everything from do lengthy evals on players that were in their draft class, that were being, on their draft boards. We had to present them for, 25 minutes. Well, with in-depth thought process on why, we felt the way we felt about those guys, how they could help their organization, or why we didn't think they were a good fit. Had an opportunity to sit in just the war room and listen to those guys organize and delegate responsibilities, in the process of, building a draft board. So all those things, really one of the most important things was listening to Shaq Harris. So he's responsible for building, having a hand in building those Ravens teams that were really great. But just listening to him talk about, the most important positions to acquire as you're building your roster, that was mind blowing, and I've never forgotten those conversations. And I've used that, to this day, in the process of building a team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it, man. That was a very pivotal part for me as a coach, was learning team properly, learning how to evaluate talent, and you know, you know, with the college realm of it, at that time, you couldn't get rid of guys, as easy. But now where they have it, I mean, you can clear 50 guys in one semester if you want to.
Yeah, Prime did it.
Right. So it's definitely something that, that you can do. A lot of guys are doing it. It's nothing that's, unique to any one person. It's just something that you're able to do. That was part of it. And then kind of retooling those goals, like going to the coaches convention, was definitely something that helped me get a little better grasp on the world of coaching. Having older guys that are in the building that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
that have had experiences, and just shutting up and listening to those guys, and listening to their experiences and the things they've went through, really help mold and steer a lot of the ways that I pursued the coaching profession. And learning and understanding loyalty. You gotta be loyal to yourself, and to your family, in this business,
Mm-hmm.
and treat the profession with respect. And I think everything else handles itself from there.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. So now, as we continue to talk about your coaching career, um, you eventually got promoted to being an OC, and like, how was that first year for you? And I know I spent a lot of nights with you putting together your playbook and things like that. I even remember seeing some of the things that I seen, and you was extremely protective of it, but I still seen it anyway because I knew what you had brewing. I knew what you were capable of doing. So, like, can you speak to us a little bit about your philosophy and um, what makes your offense so unique and explosive as it is?
Well, I'll say this. Um, you know, offensively, what I do is an accumulation of, you know, really it took me 10 years to reach a coordinator position. So it's 10 years worth of football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've learned and grown, you know, every coordinator or brilliant mind that I've had a chance to come across, both offensively and defensively. I've learned and taken something that they've given me with me for my journey. So, you know, for me, it was all about playing with tempo, um, having a downhill run game, and a vertical pass game. To be very brief, and we named it the ambush offense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what we ended up having was our first go out as an ambush offense. We played Miami, the number 15 team in the country at the time, and gave them 357 yards of offense, and 14 points. Not a lot of points. We found ourselves down the side to red and low red 5 times in that football game. But sometimes those BCS players show to be a little different than FCS players. But we played hard. You know, we were able to score 2 touchdowns, 350 yards of offense, and do some really good things. You know, do some really good things. And I had a lot of good players that year. That year again, we went and played. We played.
Did y'all play Nebraska that year?
No, that was 19.
Okay.
Or 18. So 18, we go and we play FAU when Lane Kiffin had his 14 and or 12 and 2 year,
Mm-hmm.
the year before he went to Ole Miss. And we scored 28 and had 400 yards of offense on those guys. Then we take the Nebraska game that year in 2018, and we take it with 6 days notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they paid us like 800,000 or something, or 400,000. Don't let me lie. And you know, we went out there and gave them 375 yards of offense, and 1 touchdown. Like I said, things get tight when you get in that red zone.
Yeah.
When the athletes come out.
Yeah, and really that D lineman,
Mm-hmm.
those D linemen. But you know, and then you know, we were still able to, you know, accumulate, you know, a good amount of yards against those guys, you know, and play with some success. So, you know, we play with a fast tempo. So, you know, it allows us to dictate, you know, the fronts and the coverages that we get, you know, and I feel really good calling plays when I know exactly what guys are going to be sitting in. You know, I had a very athletic quarterback that could, you know, do great things for us with plus one running football, you know, getting the quarterback in zone read and different stuff like that. And then we had some guys that could really run and take the top off. So, you know, it was fun. It was definitely fun, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I know I know while we're on the whole coaching thing, I know that you're an extreme uh um video junkie. You're always watching tape of something, and can you let us and the audience know that what Cerebral Sportz is about, and the things that you do and how they can find you, um, and kind of understand the mind of Coach Suber. You can run down a little bit of details on that.
Yeah, man. Cerebral Sportz is my baby, man. There's a lot of different you know, grooves to Cerebral Sportz. One that people that follow me on Twitter and Instagram, they see that I watch a lot of film, like you said, and I often post film with the thoughts of what's going on there, because I want to continue to make fans,
Mm-hmm.
people of football, but to give them a more in-depth understanding of what's going on when they see things. Because I mean, the game of football is beautiful, man. There's
Yeah.
so much thought, and there's so much detail that goes into it. Speaking of beauty and details, I have another fold of Cerebral Sportz where it's the beauty is in the details. Where I just recently I talk more so about plays in the ambush offense. I give them video clips, and then I describe in detail what they're watching take place,
Yeah,
so
I'm a
that they
huge
can.
fan of that, man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you like it, man. I appreciate it.
Uh,
Um, but we'll continue those, but it gives guys and gals just an in-depth look into exactly what's going on. And honestly, man, there's a lot of things that I didn't just create in my mind. I was able to watch, I was able to see, I was able to recreate. And I'm hoping that there's coaches that are out there that are have expansive minds and are looking to add plays to their playbooks. And you know that's the ultimate compliment for me, is guys being able to see those beauty in the details videos, and being able to take that and add those plays to their repertoire on Friday or Saturday nights. So
Thursdays too, man, because it's two of those plays where I plan on running them during a JV game. I like to experiment on JV as I'm calling plays, and
let's
just to
go.
just to get a feel of, you know what I'm saying, how they gonna line up. And like you said, like when you know what they're gonna do and you can dictate how they line up, it's the transition of calling the play is so much easier. And like that's one of the dopest things, man. And I've had a couple of my kids tell me even today, like, hey, coach, man, when you become an OC, man, like that's gonna be so fun. Like whoever's gonna play for you is they gonna have so much fun. Like you deserve it. And to have kids tell you that, man, that's like some of the dopest things. But for me, I'm always trying to include a kid in something. I don't care if it's one play or if it's one target or if it's one carry. Like for me, especially coaching high school, if you can provide that one goal for them, like it drives them to go even harder because they want more. And it's just dope, man, to have you know coaches like yourself and the current OC, Coach Costa, who I'm working under now, and he's phenomenal too. So it's like when I'm literally listening to you, and a lot of the things that you're saying, it's like, man, these are the things that I do. But a lot of it that I got from you, like the times when we used to be on the road and we talking, and even to this day now, like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be coaching, because I remember that trip. I don't know if you remember that trip, man, but I remember that trip and I'll never forget it, and then you got me with Aaron Shepard, Coach Shep, who's doing phenomenal things at McKeachum now. Like because of you, I'm I'm where I am now, man. So I want to shoot. I want to give you flowers now. I want to tell you thank you, and continue to keep inspiring, because that's what you did, and you did that for me, and I'm sure now you're doing it for other coaches that you probably don't even know about. So continue to do what you're doing. All right, and then just lastly, just let the audience know how they can reach out to you, Twitter, um, whatever social media that you're on, that you promote.
Okay.
Audience know how they can follow you and and continue to get things that I'm getting from you. And
Okay.
if they want, whatever,
Okay.
how can they reach out to you?
Okay. You can find me on my personal page of indubitably underscore one. All right. That's on Twitter. And you can also find me on Twitter on Cerebral Sportz with a Z. And then on IG at Cerebral Sportz with a Z.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, man. This is a great interview, man. I just want to tell you, Sue, man. I was waiting to say it. You was mentioning a lot about watching film and the dynasty mode and all the above, man. But I remember, I don't know if you remember, back and I came down to Tampa to visit, and I'm sitting in the living room when you guys had a big dog and Alex and Miles.
Was it seven
And I
or
guess
Dio or
D-O,
DOG? One of them
D-O,
two.
do y'all remember that name, Dio?
Okay, okay.
And you came, you was visiting, man, and you was watching film, man.
Did he have the
You
echo?
made us all sit in the living room and watch film the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
night. And everybody started to doze off and go to sleep, man. I sat there and watched you watch film for hours, man, and seeing it how it all translate here to you eventually becoming the mastermind coach that you are, introducing us. I don't know about Miles, but introducing us to like the RPO offense and things of that nature. We're explaining how it moves and how you can manipulate players on defense and things of that nature. To you evolving to creating such a beautiful thing such as Cerebral Sportz. Man, this has just been it's been great to watch you grow and transition from different phases and all phases of football. And like you said, it's such a beautiful sport, and man, and see you kind of master each phase. It's just beautiful watch, man. And it's definitely something to motivate us as younger coaches trying to get to your level, man. So I really appreciate that you taking your time out to give us the opportunity to pick your brain. I'm sure this won't be our last interview with you, man. I want to try to make you a regular at some point, so we can keep picking your brain because there's so much more to unpack with your career. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us today.
Nah, man, I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I can't thank you enough, and I probably won't, But just hey, man, just know, man, I'm always reach out to you, and I want to let you know, man, we ended up beating North Gwinnett. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the Ridge.
Yes,
Shout out
sir.
to the Riz, man. We
Shout
beat
out
North
to the
Gwinnett,
Ridge.
but I say all that to say, man, like I remember those times, man, where I sat there and watched you grind, and I couldn't even like talk to you because you grinding, and like when I seen you and I went and seen you in action, and just a couple weeks ago, and how efficient Wharton's offense was. It inspired me so much to say, you know what, man, when I leave here, when I leave this game, I'm gonna go watch some more film. And I appreciate you sitting down with me and all those things. Like these are things that I never forget. And we won that game, and that was a big game for me. So um, I appreciate you, and you continue to do what you're doing down there at Warden, man. Shout out to those guys, you guys,
One.
and keep it going. Don't stop. Keep it going, and we may phone you in one day, man, just to see how you doing. And um, but we appreciate you, and I know it's getting late and these things, and you got other things to do. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do want to appreciate you, and um, good luck on the rest of your season.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This has
Definitely
been a
do.
special episode of Dropping Five
Yeah.
Podcast, man. We out.
Coach Alan Suber,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Coach Alan Suber.
Cerebral
Y'all go
Sportz.
follow him. Cerebral Sports with a Z on Twitter. He's posting everything on Twitter. Go find him on Twitter. Hit him up in his DMs. Flood his DMs. Get what you can get, and maybe you can teach him something as well. All right. Shout out to Cerebral Sports. Shout out to Wharton. Shout out to Peachtree Ridge. Shout out to Coach Chris.
Shout out to Coach Miles, man. We out.